huge impact on the research community. Effectively, all research had to stop unless you were working on COVID-19 research specifically. So for me, what that meant was everything that happened in lab ceased. All of my experience stopped. The reagents that we used were just wasted. There was nothing that could be done. You can imagine that this is really, really challenging for a lab to continue to function if you can't be in lab. People were pretty diligent about trying to find ways to work from home, but ultimately there's just only so much that you can do. In particular, there are groups that are really vulnerable to this. So new researchers who are just starting their labs are essentially trying to ramp up their data production very quickly. And for people who are just starting their labs now, are dealing with trying to do that without being able to be in lab. And so they are extremely vulnerable to not having a successful start to their career. The other group are folks who are up for grant renewal. And so to keep your science going, essentially you apply for grants every so often. And if you fail to get enough grants to continue your research, your lab can shut down entirely. You can imagine that if you are trying to do that in a time where you can't collect data, that makes you very vulnerable to possibly not being successful. Both of those reasons, along with the broader research implications in general, are why it is so important that the federal government steps in to provide support, to shore up the research and the research infrastructure that we've invested so much in, so that we don't end up losing very critical pieces of that just because COVID came along. It would be an absolute shame because, essentially if we have to stop our science and we can't start it back up again, the cost to the taxpayer is really tremendous.